Hi Virgo, welcome to your May 2020 tarot and astrology reading. I hope you're all doing really well. We do live in uncertain times. Things are very peculiar at the minute, and whatever perspective you take on it, things may be in an unusual spot for you, and this video is not intended to take away from your experience or invalidate it or woo-woo it, because there's quite a lot of stuff for Virgo, astrologically speaking, to do with career coming up in this. So that may be something you want to hear, that may be something you don't want to hear. It really depends on yourself, but it's also a very optimistic time for you, astrologically speaking. There's a lot to be excited about, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to roll my astrological dice first and foremost to see if there's anything specific to pick up before we get into the deeper astrology and the tarot of things. Oh, so we have Neptune, we have Gemini. Gemini is your career, and we have the 12th house. So Leo's energy is represented, but really, as well as Neptune in Pisces at the moment, Neptune connects very beautifully with the Scorpio full moon. But the 12th house is very interesting. That's very psychic. That's very aware. And it's also very forgiving. You may be in a position where you have to forgive, be it small, be it big, a Pisces or a Gemini in your life. Obviously, the other mutable signs are quite significant for you. But in particular, Venus will go retrograde on the 13th. Now, we'll talk about love first and foremost, because Venus is the planet of love and it's going retrograde in a side of the sky for you that's really quite to do with prestige, and it's also to do with the organizations, the structures, the governments, the patriarchy, that kind of theme that we've had this year with the Capricorn energy. 10th house for you is a lot to do with the way that you market yourself. It's a lot to do with your higher dreams in terms of what you achieve in this lifetime. And Virgos, more often than not, achieve a lot. You are methodical, you are smart, you are talented, you are all these amazing things that are just sometimes quite superhuman and intimidating. I just find Virgos sometimes, particularly in work environments, so intimidating because they just know to this fine level of detail exactly what you need to know if you go to a Virgo with a question. So for Venus to be retrograding in your career zone, but also a part of the sky that's very much to do with how you're perceived, you will be thinking quite a lot about your image. Be that in love, be that in work, be that in family. 8 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups. You want to meet a goal, you want to progress, but you're very unsure of the feelings, you're unsure of the potentials, you're very unsure of what could be. That will be your theme for Venus retrograde in your 10th house. You will not feel sure. It's only asking you to reevaluate. It's not trying to derail you from the progress that you've already made a lot of in 2020. It is a time in Taurus season for you to be very curious, for you to look for new ways of thinking, new belief systems, to read up on different types of religions. You know, I find one of the things about spirituality in any sense is that oftentimes the source is not identified. You know, there's a lot of spiritual teachings on here are based on Eastern culture, and that's not always referenced. And you wouldn't catch a Virgo doing that. You guys always know your sources. I think for a lot of you in Venus retrograde, you don't know your sources. And it makes you feel very confused. It makes you feel very muddled. You feel like you cannot progress and work as hard without the facts. King of Cups. Which is where you're going to need to learn to lean on your emotions a little bit. Explore your feelings. How do you feel about your career? How do you feel about the way that you're perceived? How do you feel about the way things are going in general? Explore your feelings without fact checking them, right? Former colleagues may show up It's good to not burn any bridges in work or in money matters. There are people, probably water signs, that will pop back into your life during Venus retrograde. Probably Scorpios, probably Cancers, probably Pisces. But they might be able to help you out when you're feeling kind of lonely, when you're feeling kind of down. If it's a romantic connection, be careful that it is not based on loneliness. Be careful that it is not simply based on a need to reconnect with somebody. You don't want to get involved with somebody that could make you feel like an anybody. That's not what you're looking for in 2020. Venus retrograde in the 10th house is very old-fashioned. Hermit, judgment. People could reappear in your life, and it looks like you may also be reappearing in somebody else's. But you're coming to some big conclusions as far as career goes. By August, you will probably have made quite a significant move. Quite a significant change. Now, Saturn is going retrograde in your 6th house. As a 6th house sign, you can identify with that energy. A lot of the times, Virgo, you can get very burnt out by how hard you work. And I think a lot of you need to be taking some time for self-care, to be taking some time to breathe, to look after yourself, to reflect, to pause for a moment. The Tower and the Lovers. Big revelations romantically. Something happens in your love life that surprises you. And Virgos don't always like surprises. But with Venus going retrograde in the 10th house and Jupiter going retrograde in your sector of love and romance, you will be in for some surprises. You will be in for some big revelations, some big changes, some big messages. You could experience what feels like a love at first sight connection, even if sight is over Skype, is over Zoom, whatever it could be. I think with Judgment, the Tower and the Lovers, as well as the Hermit energy, you're coming to big revelations, and a lot of you are quite simply walking straight out of singledom into something very unexpected. I will not rain on your parade, but what I will say is that Venus going retrograde can oftentimes make love very confusing. It can make people appear to be different than they are, and that's not to say that they are a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is simply to say, take it slow, be careful, because I think a lot of you could really fall quite quickly here. And Saturn is going to retrograde right back into your love sector, and you will have it again for a little while. And with Jupiter retrograding there, just be mindful that your past pain could do a lot of damage to future connections. So get to grips with that while you still can. If you're currently in a relationship, I think that there may be some interesting surprises. Of course, it is Taurus season. Uranus is in Taurus. Fellow Earth sign energy. Things could get really very surprising for you, Virgo. But just don't be so surprised if somebody melts your heart. You would be surprised at how much the Lovers comes up for the signs in May. You'd be surprised. Page of Wands and the King of Swords. For some of you, you are dealing with a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. For some of you, you're dealing with an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. But their conversation, their sparkiness really makes you quite excited. And if it's not you, it is simply you. King of Wands. It is simply you learning to embrace more playful energies as far as love goes, because Saturn being in your love sector has made things kind of heavy, and Venus retrograde will make things quite traditional, but you like that. You like it a lot. 3 kings, 3 wise men. All we needed was the star, and we had one hell of a story. Queen of Pentacles, and there's your energy. For a lot of Virgos, you're getting quite a lot of attention by the end of May. I think when we go into Gemini season, in Gemini season is putting that emphasis on your prestige. You kind of glow whenever that energy comes up for you, because you love that fulfillment, you love that success, you love that drive. For those of you that are in confusing situations career-wise, again, I want to say people from the past could be very helpful in terms of, especially old colleagues, old people that you could connect with that would give you good contacts, because there's a lot of people have popped up. And of course, when we get to Cancer season in June, July time next month, there is going to be an emphasis on your social connections, right? We have had the North Node shift from Cancer to Gemini, right? Taking your onus off these different connections, but it wanted you so much to learn that your connections are key, and you're getting another shot at that. The North and South Node really wanted you to know that. And of course, with all the interesting karma going on with the South Nodes romantically, I think for a lot of you, you really have been through the ringer, particularly Virgo rising. As far as love goes, I think a lot of you have been through the ringer. And I think a lot of you have felt like, why is this just not happening? You know, whether it's love, whether it is art, whether it is creativity, you're just feeling like, why is this not happening? It's gonna happen. You've some blocks to work through. I can't tell you exactly what they are, but the Gemini energy is going to make it very clear to you. Whether it's career, whether it's creativity, this year is all about removing those blocks to give you that clear runway to take off. In the meantime, while you're discovering that, you probably on your journey find a bit of romance, a bit of fun, a bit of creativity, a bit of a new spark, something in your heart that makes you say, I like this a lot. Jupiter is going to go retrograde in a very creative side of the sky for you, and this is the time, Eight of Pentacles, that you hone your craft to become someone who's very savvy, particularly when dealing with business, particularly when dealing with colleagues. People from the past are going to surprise you, and I think for a lot of you it's work related, but for some of you it's for sure love. And there's some surprising stuff going on there too. I'm going to draw an oracle card before we move to the extended reading and see what we have for Virgo. I think a lot of you are dealing with a Gemini person or a Pisces person in a big way. Don't dim to fit in. We had quite a few come out for you. Share your voice. You definitely need to share your voice a bit more, Virgo. How are you dimming your light to fit in? I feel like that is the most significant for you. The 10th house is all about shining your light, especially in the world around you. Do not diminish yourself when you're putting yourself forward for things. You're not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So that 12th house energy is protection as well. Call back your power. Cut the cords, soul retrieval. So releasing something that needs to be released. The Scorpio full moon for you is all to do with your voice, with expressing yourself authentically, with saying the thing that you need to say, especially in love. Neptune in Pisces, Mars moving into Pisces. We'll get more into that in the mid-monthly, but for now I want to say that Mars moving into Pisces, as well as Neptune's connection to this full moon, is bringing about big revelations in love. If you listen to it. If you're closed off for it, it will be big revelations in how you connect with someone on a one-on-one level, whether it is romantic or not. How you connect with someone, how you communicate with someone, where you feel like you have been in some way restricted. We can release that now. We can let that go. We can start to show our voice. We can start to be a little bit more showy rather than overworked. Show off the goods rather than pretend you don't have them and do everybody else's work for them, because it's your moment to shine. Venus will be in the 10th house until August. You have a lot of time, but you will be shining like a penny, like a star when it's all over. By the time we get out of it, you will have your career thing down. By the time we get out of 2020, you will be so clear on love. You will be so clear on romance. You will have so many answers, and with answers, Virgos do magical things. So I will see you in the extended Virgo. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Love you very much. Bye.